Okay. I think we want to start now. First of all, I'm going to say good afternoon, good morning, good evening to everyone on this call. My name is Engineer Ejiro John, and I am the founder of Teach Girls Tech Initiative, formerly known as Make Creators Initiative. And today we're going to have a one-day web development training course that is going to be happening through IMSA. IMSA is Illinois Maths and Science Academy. They have a SWE club, which they are going to introduce by themselves. So Himani is going to take over, and her team, her awesome team, they have actually handled trainings for us in the past, awesome trainings for us in the past. And I can't wait to hear what they have for us today. I'm sure that at the end of today's program, we are going to go back with a lot of new knowledge. So I'm going to hand over the stage to them. Thank you for collaborating with us. So over to you.
Thank you for the nice introduction. We can also talk a little bit more about ourselves as well. So as you said, the purpose of today is to kind of go over a little bit about the basics of web development and kind of what we see daily. And first, we'll kind of just introduce ourselves and explain like who and what we are and what we do. And then we'll go into like some web development tools that you can use to like quickly build a website, as well as like how to actually code it from scratch. And then we can take any questions. But if you guys have any questions like in between, feel free to interrupt as well. But we do have like just a couple minutes at the end reserved for that. So first, what is SWE? SWE stands for Society of Women Engineers. And at IMSA, which is the Illinois Mathematics and Science Academy, as she explained before, we're a residential STEM school in the US with about like 650 students. And my team and I, through the Society of Women Engineers Club at our school, what we do is try to provide opportunities for women and other people outside of our school as well, and provide these opportunities through these kind of sessions, as well as we have like a local hackathon for young girls next to our school. But that's just like a little bit introduction about like what we do. And we can also introduce ourselves. My name is Himani Musuku, and I'm currently a 12th grader at our school.
Hi, my name is Samantha Narchetti. I'm currently an 11th grader at IMSA.
I'm Nicole, and I'm also a 12th grader at IMSA.
Yeah, so first we're going to start off with what is web development. So basically, web development is anything to do with creating, building, and maintaining websites and web applications that are online on a browser. So what does that exactly mean? So websites are anything that you see when you search up questions on Google or Safari, or so any website that you show up that you like, any link that shows up whenever you search something is a website. And so what a browser exactly means is anything, for example, Google, anything where you can sort of browse the internet. So Google, Safari, Microsoft Edge, they're all examples of browsers. And basically, websites and web applications are hosted on these browsers. So you are able to basically creating, building, and maintaining these websites is web development. So web development is kind of split into two parts. So you have front-end development, and you have back-end development. So front-end development is seeing what you see. So when you go onto a website, whatever you see is made through front-end development. So those are like that's the structure of the website, the colors that you see, the pictures, anything that you interact with on the website is front-end development. That was created, typically you use HTML, which is a programming language, CSS, which is it's called Cascade Styling Sheets. Basically what it does is it sort of the fonts that you see, the colors that you see, that's all through CSS. And then JavaScript. So those are typically the the languages that you use during front-end development. And then you have back-end development. So that's what happens behind the scenes. So let's say, for example, you're on Amazon and you're placing like an order. So when you click buy, or when you submit your cart, the things happen behind the scenes for that order to eventually arrive on your doorstep. So all that processing for the Amazon system to be able to know that, oh, this person placed an order, this is what they have in their order, that is all back-end development. So the things that you don't necessarily see. Usually this happens through like servers. So you have a database that stores all your data that you're collecting. So let's say for Amazon, let's say I ordered clothes, that is stored in the database, and then Amazon sort of processes that information, and then I get my clothes in 2 or 3 days. It's sort of the magic part of the website, the part that you don't really see. And usually for that, we use Java, SQL, Python, and PHP. These are just languages, so they might sound fancy, but they're just programming languages that we use to communicate with a computer to basically have the computer do what we want. Now in web development, here are a few things you might be doing if you're a web developer. So first, design. So you want your website to look pretty. I'd say if you were a user using a website, you wouldn't want the website to look all over the place. So to be able to have a good website, you need to have a good design. So as part of when you are a web developer, one of the key parts is designing your website. So knowing what you want your website to look like. The second part, obviously programming. You see all these programming languages that we use here for front-end development and back-end development. So programming is often going to be a key part of developing websites, telling the computer how to make your website, basically. And then project management. So typically when you're a web developer, you sort of are working with your clients. So the clients are the people you're making the website for. So let's say this is a company. I'm just going to use Amazon. Amazon probably makes their own websites, but for example, let's say you're making a website for Amazon. You need to understand what Amazon wants and then build it based on what Amazon wants. So that's called project management. And then finally, database management. So when you have a website, you're going to be storing all your data in a database. And so to be able to, you need to understand how to manage that data, call that data from the database, and etc. So you can sort of see this below, this graphic, sort of front end and then back end. Yeah. And then uses and importance of web development. So web development sounds really cool, but why is it important? Well, first of all, it's the reason we have websites. So anything from Wikipedia to Amazon to anything that you can sort of open a page on the website for, it's incredibly important. It's the reason we have the internet. It's the reason we can find so much information, right? So web development is incredibly important. And so here are some applications that we use in our day-to-day lives that are products of web development. We have Zoom. We're having this meeting currently on Zoom. Zoom has their own website. Amazon, you order things through a website, and a lot of people use Amazon to be able to get goods that they might not be able to find locally in their stores around them. YouTube, I mean, there's so much information, so much entertainment on YouTube, and so the fact that we use this every day, so it's incredibly important. And web development was the reason we have all these incredibly amazing applications. And then finally, knowing web development allows you to develop your own solutions to problems that you see. So for example, one example of this is Boston 311. So this was an app that allowed Boston residents to report potholes or other issues in their community. And so what this app ended up doing was that because Boston had some issues with sort of being able to communicate from the government and the community, and being able to solve these issues with infrastructure like potholes and broken signs and broken lights. This app allowed Boston residents to be able to report these potholes and broken lights and broken signs to the government to be able to get them fixed quicker. And this not only improved the communities, but also allowed for the government and the community to have a stronger relationship. Another one is MA3, I think is the name of the app, and MA3 Root. And so basically it was it's an app that was originally based in Kenya. And basically what was happening was whenever someone were to go driving or trying to commute to a job, they would they would maybe run into an accident, and then they would spend 2 hours trying to find a way to their job through different routes because they didn't know where they were going specifically. And so MA3 Route allows people to share information about transport conditions, traffic conditions, and then be able to plan accordingly. So you're not spending 2 hours in traffic trying to get to your job when an accident occurs, and you're able to move much more quickly. And so it's now expanded and is all I think, more accessible throughout the entire world. So these are sort of examples of what you can do with web development. You can sort of find your problems that you see in your own community and create web applications to combat these problems, which I think is really cool. So yeah.
Okay, so there's many different ways to make a website using things like code, but if you're like me and you're not the most coding person, there's many online resources such as Wix.com that use AI and pre-made templates to make web development a lot faster. So what is Wix? Wix is a website creator that allows you to make a website, but not entirely from scratch like code. It includes pre-made templates, all designed to serve different purposes. So people can use Wix to example like a business, sell stuff online. You can post things that you make, like art. You can have a blog. There's so many different ways that you can use a website, kind of like what Samantha mentioned. And thanks to more recent additions to AI, it is a lot easier to also make custom changes to these templates. This is a little bit faster for if you're like me and you're not the most coding person to make custom changes to templates. And the AI basically works like prompts. So I kind of wanted to do a little walkthrough of how Wix specifically uses things like artificial intelligence to make a website. So the first step, it'll ask you if you want to use AI, and I decided yes, I will. So I clicked the start chat button. Then it asked me, hi, let's get started with your site setup. First, tell me what your site is all about. So I decided to make a website that is about engineering because we're all here for engineering. So I said I would like to make a site to inform people about engineering resources. And it says, that's a great idea. What is the name of your site or business? So basically, it'll keep asking you questions. And next slide, please. It'll basically keep asking you questions, asking like, what is your website for? What do you want to put on it? And as you're saying stuff throughout this chat, you're going to learn, it's going to like take note of it. On the right-hand bar, it like kept note of, oh, I said I wanted to be called Society of Women Engineers at IMSA. And next slide, please. Eventually, it'll collect all these things and it'll have goals, for example. So my goals with the website were to share knowledge about engineering, to educate people, and to provide valuable resources. Next slide, please. So it'll slowly start preparing like the basic things you would need in that website. Like, for example, I said I want to do things like events, so it'll create like a little platform for me to host events on. Next slide, please. So now it'll ask, how would you like to design your website? So to keep going with using AI, I decided to generate a design with AI. However, like a little bit mentioned, you can use templates and create things kind of your own way and kind of go more into the building blocks of that. But just to save time, I used AI. And now it'll start generating previews of a potential website you could use. And it'll say basically like based on the information that I gave to the AI, it generated this website. However, I decided I wanted something a little bit different. I wanted to use a little bit more of the Society of Women Engineers colors, which are more purple and not yellow. So next slide, please. kept regenerating this until I got a look I kind of liked. And it basically, the site theme is basically kind of like what Sam said, how there's different colors you can use, different fonts you can use. So that's what it means when it says things like site theme. Next slide, please. So I decided to change the theme, right? I wanted to change its colors. I wanted purple. So it tells me when I click on the theme, it tells me information about the theme. So basically, the font is just the type of text it uses, like the style of the text, and it tells me what colors it uses. So I can say directly, what colors do I want to use? So next slide, please. I said that I asked if I could use more purple, and then I liked the idea of the font that they gave originally. So it then regenerates a whole new look for this website while still keeping the parts I wanted, which was the layout. Next slide, please. So after you do all of this, you can basically create your website to be more engineered towards what you want to do. You can make a custom web domain, which is basically like you know how Google is google.com? It would basically be the address to this website. For example, like it's suggested, I could do suiimsa.org. And you can also add ways to pay. Like, you know how Amazon, you have to submit your paying information and it'll help you save everything in a database for you. So it is a lot easier to use website builders rather than building something by yourself.
Yeah, definitely. And just in case you might have missed it, it is completely free, so it's like a really nice tool to use, especially if you're on like if you don't have much time or coding experience, like what Nicole said. And next, we'll be talking about GitHub. This isn't necessarily like a website developer or something that you can just create a website out of, but I just wanted to mention this because GitHub is, if you haven't heard of it, it's basically like a platform that allows, in this case, like developers or coders to like store their code online, and then if you publish it, the public can see it. So like it's really nice to like if you have any questions, you can look at other people's like code and see how they built websites or things like that. And it's really nice because like it's a application programming interface or API. You can upload all of these and use HTML, which is the language, as Samantha mentioned, is the main like building block of all of these coding websites. And APIs are more popular in other languages, but REST, which stands for Representational State Transfer, is mainly used in backhand development, which Samantha was talking about a little bit earlier. And GitHub's like the syntax of like good communication between all of the servers, systems, and applications, making it really easy for you to like develop a website. And GitHub is popular for troubleshooting because it allows people to like post about their code if they have any questions, and if there's other people in the community who know like about this topic or might be an expert, they can answer the question, or like all of these people can kind of troubleshoot this problem together. And next, now we'll actually talk about HTML. And although there are websites like Wix.com, which allow you to build these websites in like a couple of seconds pretty quickly to your taste, HTML and understanding HTML can be very useful because then you can actually understand how the code works, so that like if there's a problem or if there's like a specific aspect that you don't like, you can just manually go in the code and change it. And now we'll kind of talk about what HTML actually is first. So it stands for Hypertext Markup Language. And as I mentioned before, HTML is kind of like the building blocks of all of the websites that you see online. It's very commonly used, and it's predominantly used to create the structure and layout of the web pages. So although you can kind of determine like how the website looks with HTML, there's like other languages like what Samantha mentioned earlier, like JavaScript or cascading style system sheets, or sheets. So CSS. Those are mainly used for like actually designing the look of the web page, but like HTML is like the building block, so it can kind of help you determine what goes where, how you kind of like space it and all of those kind of things. And HTML is mainly broken down into tags. And by tags, I mean like you have like a opening and closing brackets. Like I have the example for P for paragraphs or H for head, but better understanding of what I'm talking about. And with HTML, you can add different types of text, images, and links to your web pages. And as we can kind of see with the H1, there are different types of heading from H1 to H6. So by having all of these kind of different varieties, HTML makes it super easy to organize different contents and other elements. And the good thing about HTML is it's very beginner friendly, and most of it it's pretty simple to use. You just need to know like the format of the tags with the opening and closing brackets, but other than that, it's very simple. And it's commonly used around the world to build sites like Google, social media sites like Instagram, or things like that. And I can also show you an example if you're interested. For example, like if I go to GitHub, the cool thing about Google is if you right click on any website and press inspect, you can see all of the code that's used to build the website. And as we can see, this is all HTML. So if you and the good thing about HTML is like it allows you to like organize all the things, and most of them I don't know where it is, but most of them also have style sheets that they use to like actually for the web design